Hey guys, quick video for you on the coaching that we provide to you as a dealer, the phases of growth you'll go through as a dealer, kind of what you can expect long-term from this program. And then lastly, I'll kind of cover what's expected if you want to succeed in this. And that's going to be a little more hardcore, but we like to be honest with people up front just so everybody knows what they're getting into. The first thing, let's go over, basically there's 3 phases that we try and work all of our dealers through and kind of graduate them to the next level as fast as we can from the get-go. So the first phase is what we call the starter phase. Basically, the goal of this phase is to help you as the dealer get your first 2 beds sold. The reason for that is after you get your first 2 beds sold, everything gets exponentially easier because you have confidence in yourself, you have confidence in the sales process, you're very familiar with it. You've become a better salesman because you put in some reps. So 2 beds is the hump that we try and get everyone over as fast as possible. Some dealers get 2 beds sold within the first week or 2, and some of them it takes 2 or 3 months. But however long it takes to sell your first 2 beds, after that, it's basically guaranteed that it's gonna be twice as easy to get a sale just because you're gonna know what you're doing. Kind of what that looks like on our end from the coaching perspective is we're gonna touch base with you on at least a monthly basis. And if you want to talk with us more than that every couple weeks or that sort of thing, we're totally fine with doing that as well. But basically what that's gonna entail is intensive coaching on your sales script, your processes when leads come in, how to handle them, how to follow up with them. Basically, it's gonna be sales 101 if you guys aren't super familiar with sales. The great thing about this program is it's so idiot-proof that you don't have to have a ton of sales experience or be a world-class salesman to make this work. Most of the dealers we get in are just welders who don't have a ton of experience doing outbound sales calls, which is totally fine. That's why we coach you from the beginning to make sure that we get you comfortable reaching out to people, following up with them and closing deals, because obviously we started with nothing and now we're here, so we know what it's like to be the position that you're in, and we're gonna help you get to the next level. So after you've sold your first 2 beds, we move you in what's called the growth phase. At this point, you're gonna be confident in yourself as a salesman. You're gonna be closing flatbeds consistently, 1 to 2 units a month is kind of what we consider the growth phase. And we're gonna be, at this point, paying very close attention to what your customer acquisition cost is, which basically means how much money do you have to spend on ads to generate 1 sale. And we're gonna make sure that that gets more and more efficient over time. Generally, the way that works is since you're gonna be a worse salesman in the beginning than after you've done it for a few months, your cost per acquisition to get a customer is gonna be higher in the beginning than after you've done it. So we're gonna be trying to get you down to a couple $100 to acquire a customer, because at that point we can just pour gas on the fire and basically get you unlimited sales, assuming that you're able to have the bandwidth to put the effort in to close those deals. Once you're consistently closing 1 to 2 deals a month, you've got a good customer acquisition cost, which is something we always go over in the coaching calls. We're gonna help you out to make sure that you're doing very efficient math in terms of money spent to money made. After you're doing that consistently, we're gonna move you to phase 3, which is what we call the scale phase. At this point, you're gonna be closing 2 or more bed sales per month on a consistent basis. You kind of don't need a ton of coaching on sales, the whole build process and install process. You've basically got all of that mastered. At this point, we're basically just pouring gas on the fire and kind of pulling from our experience from how we built this business from nothing to where it is today. So we're gonna be helping you out hiring employees to scale it up so you're no longer the one building and installing all the beds. You're gonna be outsourcing that to other guys in your shop. And at this point, you can kind of focus on sales, marketing, juicing the leads, which we're gonna help you with our coaching as well. At that point, we're kind of wanting to get you to whatever amount of sales per month that you wanna be doing. Once we get the customer acquisition cost honed, we can basically turn this thing up for you to make an unlimited amount of leads. So as long as you have the manpower to fulfill the amount of orders, we basically just ask you how many beds you wanna sell per month, and we adjust everything on your behalf to actually make that happen. We have this so systemized that we basically just turn the knob up and you generate more sales automatically, assuming you're doing what we tell you to, obviously. So that kind of covers the phases of what you're gonna go through as a dealer. The goal is to get you through those phases as fast as possible. Most of our dealers are definitely in the growth phase by about 3 months in. The best dealers are definitely in the scale phase before the end of their first year. So that's kind of what you can expect in terms of leveling up. Next part of this video is gonna be a little more hardcore. This is basically just gonna go over, very frankly, what you have to do if you wanna win. And if you don't do these things, you shouldn't do this because it's basically guaranteed failure. If you do these things, it's basically guaranteed success. So the first thing that is not optional whatsoever is you have to be committed to calling your inbound leads every single day. This isn't something where you do it every couple weeks. Every business day that you're in the shop, you need to carve out time to call leads, or somebody on your staff needs to carve out time to call leads. Basically, no one's going to buy an $8,000 flatbed, which is about the average ticket price of the flatbeds being sold by our dealers. Nobody's gonna buy that on the first call. You know, it's very rare that that happens. So you need to expect to A, call the leads every single day. You don't wait for them to call you, because they won't. You need to call them, build some rapport, build some trust with them, get a relationship started, make them like you. That's step one of sales. And then you're gonna have to follow up with them more than likely 2 to 5 times before they buy. So just have that expectation up front, because that's realistically about what it's gonna be. Every lead is called. You know, we give you a list and a tracking sheet to keep track of all your leads. But if you don't call and follow up with the leads, this is gonna be a failure for you. This is not passive income where you just get into this and money falls out of the sky. It will fall out of the sky with proper planning and action steps, but you gotta actually do it. So that's the first thing. If you don't wanna call the leads, you shouldn't do this. Secondly, is committing to doing what we coach you to do. You know, obviously we have some credibility on selling flatbeds. You know, if you were to talk to us about repair work or structural or anything like that, we would claim to know next to nothing about that. But what we are exceptional at, what we started with nothing with and now we're here, is building and selling flatbeds. Everything revolving around that we are experts on, as proven by where we have the business now today. So we've been where you are, starting with nothing. You guys actually are starting at a way easier point than we started, because you have all the processes, blueprints, designs, tons of photos. So it's actually, you know, you're kind of already at step 2 or 3 in the process from where we started. But we have been where you are. We know what it takes to get you to the next level, because we've done it, and we want you to win. As you'll look through the pricing and the structure of this program, you're gonna see the only way that we win is if you win first. Our incentive is to coach you to win. Your incentive is going to be to win as well, obviously. So our incentives line up, but you do have to commit to do what we tell you to do. And a lot of times that's gonna involve stepping out your comfort zone. You know, if we tell you gotta spend more money on marketing because your math makes sense currently if you wanna scale this up, if you wanna go to the next level, you're gonna have to do that. There's not really a way around that. So there's gonna be some things that might be a little uncomfortable for you. Obviously, we're happy to explain why we have you do that, kind of draw from our experiences as to why it's a good idea and how it's worked for us. But we are gonna push on you a little bit, but that's what it takes to win. That pretty much covers it. If you guys are good with kind of those couple hardcore expectations, daily committed diligence to do the program, this is gonna be great for you. If you're not, if you're kind of halfway in this, just wanna kind of throw this in and see what happens, this is absolutely not going to work for you. So keep that in mind, and if it is resonating with you, let's take the next step. If not, we appreciate the time anyway. So we look forward to speaking with you guys. Have a great day.